Hi, my name is Janice Story.
And my name is Diana Gogan, and we are the founders of the Freedom Way Equine Assisted Coach Training Programs. And we are really excited to share with you this series called Outstanding in the Field, where we're going to share 5 different keys that sets the Freedom Way training and coaching program apart in our field. And we're just going to give you a brief highlight of what these 5 different keys are, and we'll talk about the first one today. The 5 keys we want to share with you are as follows. The first one being that we believe that horses are sentient partners in our work.
The next one's going to be what we call the trilogy of connection.
The third one is understanding equine communication.
And one of the most important is meeting the clients where they're at.
Absolutely. And the 5th key that we're going to talk about in this series is how we help our coaches stand apart from the crowd. So we invite you to join us over the coming 5 days as we go in depth to each of these keys a little bit more. And today we're going to start off with the first one, which is that we believe and we know that in this work, horses are sentient beings. So what exactly is sentience? What does that all mean? So sentience is the ability to feel, to have emotion, to perceive things, and to experience things subjectively. We often think of these attributes as human attributes, but horses also have them. They're a big part of who they are when you open yourself to actually seeing and recognizing within them. And this is one of the really amazing things that helps them do the work they do in the equine assisted coaching and therapy fields.
It really is. They're just amazing partners to work with.
And so we teach our program from this perspective, from this viewpoint of recognizing that the horse does have emotions, it does have feelings, it does have the ability to perceive and discern. And these are all components that help the horse communicate with both the coach and the client during the session. So we really emphasize honoring the wisdom and the sensitivity of the horse throughout the coaching program and throughout the coaching session process. So what this looks like is that the horse can actually sense our emotions. They can feel our energy. They can discern what is happening within their space, whether it is seen physical signs or the unseen.
The horses really use that nonverbal communication.
Mm-hmm.
And teaching our students to be aware of that, how to read that.
Absolutely. And the interesting thing about nonverbal communication is that we are masters of it as well. We display a lot of nonverbal communication. We as humans often aren't aware of what that is. And so the horse really helps you tune into that when you're working with the client. Another part of being sentient is that we recognize that horses all have different personalities, just like people, right? We have horses who are pretty laid back, easygoing,
Quirky,
quirky,
mischievous.
Those that are high energy, those that like to interact and be involved with everything, as well as those that, tend to like to hang out and just be peaceful and quiet. And when you can recognize the various aspects of a horse's personality, that plays a big role in their connection with the client and what the client experiences during the session.
That's huge.
These things, by recognizing the sentience within the horse, these are foundational pieces of building connection. And connection is very important in this work. The connection between the horse and the client and the horse, as well as the coach with both throughout this entire process. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in the upcoming video. Sentience is foundation. To be able to recognize and honor the horse as a true partner in the coaching process changes everything, not only for you as a coach, but for the client as well. Mostly for the horse, because what happens with a horse is the horse moves from being a mere tool or a means to an end to actually being an honored and valued part of the process where they can provide feedback.
If we're willing to listen to it.
Absolutely. And so throughout our training programs, this is a very key foundational piece that we focus and we spend a lot of time on. Not only creating that awareness for our students, but also helping them to understand all the various pieces and parts of this communication and how a horse is feeling and expressing their emotions. And in fact, that's a little tidbit into an upcoming video about communication here in the near future. To illustrate this, I'm going to have Janice share a story about her client, one of her clients, and how Sentience really supported and made the entire session for this particular client.
You know, when Diana and I were working with horses, they truly are partners. We don't use them as tools. They're there to guide the session, right? And when we can get out of their way, let them do their job, you always hear about them being used, and we don't view them that way at all. It's almost like having a third person in there instead of a horse, right? That's how much we value their input into the sessions, and that's how we treat them, truly as a partner. I remember having a client come. She was referred to me by a friend of mine, and when she came to me, she seemed really sad, and I didn't know her history. I didn't know her backstory or anything, but she was pretty depressed, and she chose one of my horses, Bailey, who tends to be a very loving horse anyways. And we walked in the stall. This woman had been working at a horse rescue, so she had been spending a little bit of time with horses. But she walked into the stall and was a little bit unsure of what to do. So I just had her connecting with the horse for a little bit. Had her patting her with her hand, just with her bare hand. Eventually gave her a brush and just had her start connecting. And what happened during the rest of the session, it still about brings tears to my eyes because it was such an emotional experience. She had started to tell me the story. She had lost her husband. He had passed away. And she looked at me and she said, I don't want to be here anymore. So I, kind of prompted a little bit. You mean you don't want to be here in this space with the horse? And she said, no, I don't want to be here. Oh, okay. So I just invited her to share that with the horse. And as she continued to, the horse was very loving to begin with her. And as she continued to acknowledge how she felt, the horse kind of moved away from her and literally put her head on. I mean, Diana, I'm the horse. She literally kind of wrapped her head around this woman and almost just held her. And it was such, if you could see the goosebumps on my arms, it was such a beautiful experience when she acknowledged how she truly felt. I don't want to be here. I'm depressed. I'm sad. I'm lonely. I don't think I can ever love somebody again. When she honored herself instead of trying to, at first she says, I'm okay. But when she leaned into that, no, I'm not okay. This isn't right. I don't feel good. I don't want to live anymore, basically, is what she was implying. And the moment she leaned into that and honored that within herself, the horse leaned into her and just literally held her. The woman leaned back and she was given a beautiful, safe space to just cry, to just be with her emotions, to allow herself to feel. When we feel in that, when we're in that space, we don't want to feel that. We don't want to be in it. We don't want to become it, feel it. We shove it down. And it's really hard to acknowledge how we truly feel to somebody. Because everybody around us, it'll be okay. It'll be okay. right? This is what we want to do to help people. We want to fix them. We want to make them better. But a horse will create such a safe space to let them just be, to where they feel safe to feel in their bodies, acknowledge how they're feeling, name it out loud. That's one of the hardest things to do, is for us to name it out loud. And by 10 minutes later, she looked at me and she said, I don't know what's happening. And she had a little bit of a smile on her face. And she was enjoying the moment where earlier, 15 minutes earlier, she didn't think she'd ever enjoy anything in life again. And she was truly enjoying the moment. And I won't go into the rest of the details, because I could be here for a while, explaining a whole hour-long session. But by the end of the session, she turned around and looked at me and she said, wow, I didn't think I would ever be able to feel love again. In the short time she spent with that horse, she actually felt loved. And it opened the door for her that she could still sit with her pain. She could be in pain, but she could also love at the same time. And she got to experience love with that horse right there. I would sit here and start crying, because this woman is living an incredible life right now to this day. And I'm so proud of her for her allowing herself to have that experience. And I'm proud of myself, my horse as well, for bringing her that safety. So when we talk about a horse being sentient, a feeling being, yes, they can feel. Yes, the horse could absolutely feel her pain, right? And the horse could hold her in it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what she needed. I didn't do anything. All I did was create the environment, let the horse take over and do its job. This is what they love to do. The horse had a choice in the whole session. And the horse chose to provide this woman with safety and love. And that's what the horse felt the woman needed at the time. And it was just such a beautiful experience. We get to witness stuff like this all the time.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think that's why this is so important to us. We recognize that this isn't just a nice philosophical, nice thing to say, nice thing to have. We truly believe, and beyond belief, I know, deep within, that it is a fundamental part of the coaching session. Yes, the human factor is important, but we don't call it human assisted coaching. We call it equine assisted coaching for a reason. And so this is such a fundamental piece within our program, that we work with our student coaches to observe this, to see it, to recognize it, to honor it. There are times within a session that the horse leads the session, because the horse knows, because the horse has different abilities than their human counterparts. And so by honoring them in this process, our students create phenomenal experiences for their clients. And so recognizing the horse as a sentient partner within the equine assisted coaching and therapy worlds is paramount. It's essential.
Could I have helped her through that? Absolutely. I'm sure I could have, but it would have looked different.
Mm-hmm.
And it might not have had the profound impact that it did.
And it's interesting, one more thing, that it often happens faster in the stall or in the turnout, or wherever you are with a horse. The shifts, the awarenesses, the transformation, the healing often happens so much faster, because we do value the perspective of the horse, the input and the wisdom of the horse.
I can still feel the power of that session as we sit here talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I'm reminded in my body of how powerful it was. And like Diana said, you know, these are the things that we go to a therapist for 6 months to a year, right? People walk in grief for years sometimes
Mhm.
without ever being able to not only not imagine what it would feel like to love again, but there's no way they could experience. And in that moment, those two things came together,
Mhm.
right? And where she actually got to feel love. And that may have been something I couldn't have provided for, at least not in that way.
And that's what we do at the Freedom Way. We partner with the horse and we work with our student coaches so that they can create the same sort of synergy and experiences for their clients.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for the upcoming video and we'll share another reason that sets the Freedom Way apart from the field.
Thank you. See you in the next one.